And this is why esoterics and the understanding of these texts is so important to me, because this is what can change the planet. If it changed me from being a depressant who would take drugs and just not give two hoots about much other than money and self-service, to despise those things and to take no greater pleasure than caring for 10 special needs children and 4 or 5, I forget how many, very troubled young men who have come from the streets, then I believe it can change the heart of anybody. So hey everyone, so I've had to come right to the corner of the land of Feather's Tail to try and find some peace and quiet to do this video. So it's just crazy busy here at the moment. I've got one thing after another, and it's not simple tasks either. We were dealing with street boys who had been abused this week, which is a horrendous job for anyone to do. And I struggle with doing what I want to do, as in I can't find time to write blogs. I struggle to find time to edit videos or to do my musings and stuff like this. I'm still going to do them, but I just battle with it. It's hard work to do on top of everything else. Now I'm going to keep doing it because a lot of people who have supported us have heard the message I feel I have spiritually, and that's why they've offered support to the children and the work and the mission, if you like, that we've got here with Feather's Tail. But a lot of people ask me where they can get information regarding esoterics and a good place to learn about it and stuff of this nature. Now, I have reservations, and I'll tell you why. I've said this in another video about recommending books. Now, the reason being, my introduction to esoterics came whilst doing the instructions that teachers left behind on the planet. So I was fasting, and when I fast I get more synchronicities, more meaningful coincidences, which is the universe's way of communicating with us, I believe, or God's way of communicating with us. And I had a series of synchronicities one day where I was fasting. I heard some music and some singing and chanting, and I loved it. Now, I was in a city in England, Newcastle, and you don't hear that normally. And I'd been fasting for quite some time. I didn't have any energy, so I made my way down the stairs from a top floor house where I was fasting, and I can hear children singing. And I went outside, and when I got there I met Hare Krishna monks. And the Hare Krishna monks that I met, one came to me, he was from France, and he said, "You seem very peaceful." And I explained, well, I'm fasting at the moment. And he said, "Have you read the Bhagavad Gita?" And I said, "Well, I haven't, but I've got a suspicion I'm about to." And he handed me a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. And normally they ask for donations, but I just let him get on his way. And this was my first introduction to esoterics, because in studying that book and reading, it's very apparent and it's very common knowledge to those of the Hindu faith that a lot of the story is just allegory. And the way the book is written, it's allegory. You can see, because there's a blue-black boy. We don't have blue people on planet Earth, so we know it's allegorical. So, just one of the children from my children's fund's coming, and I can't get peace and quiet to do videos during the day. So, I don't normally recommend books, and that is why, because I feel that the universe will bring to you that which you need if you obey the teachings that are given to us. If you fast, if you pray, if you meditate and open up the doorway for more synchronicities, then you will be brought to you that which resonates with you. But then again, maybe this video is the thing the universe wants to bring to you. Dorini! Mambo! This is one of the children from the children's fund. Habari yako? Okay. And perhaps, as I say, this video might be the synchronicity that's going to be brought to you, I don't know. So, I myself, when it comes to esoterics, there are many things you can study and read. And for example, at Christmas, I got this book for myself when I was in the West. And it's Biblical Allegorism, Key to the Mysteries of the Kingdom of God, and by Frank L. Riley. Now, there are many others on this topic. Many others. And they have contain amazing keys to unlock your mind into ways of being able to understand the esoteric code and language. Now, my journey with esoterics began with fasting, and began with the universe teaching me what it wanted me to know. And it was during other long fasts that I began to be shown how to see the allegorical aspects of the Bible. Now, there are teachers on the planet, and I myself, I would love to live a monastic life where I could sit in prayer and meditation and to teach constantly. But this is not my path, and I've had to accept that I am not going to be a full-time teacher. For all, I do enjoy doing it, and I will still teach whenever I can. This week especially, it's dawned on me the realization that that is not my goal. That is not my goal. That's not the path God desires for me. Otherwise, He wouldn't just keep bringing me so many damaged children who need me. They need me there with them a lot more, and they need me to build systems here, like I have with Feather's Tail. I'm planning to build a street child outreach, a centre for street children in the local town, after spending this week with a young man who, as I say, has been raped and abused by persons whilst he's living on the street so regularly that it's become normal behaviour to him, and he no longer has to be found by them. He'll go looking for them himself, because that's his human contact. That's how much they are injured here, and that's how big a problem I'm up against. And it's hurt me a lot this week, but it's made me realise a lot as well. But there are other teachers on the planet. Now, here's another thing I do, is I've mentioned a few of them before, and one who is an amazing teacher and has amazing knowledge, and I agree with 80% of what he has to teach, because you don't always agree with your teachers, that's how it is in life. And that is a man called Bill Donohue. Now, I've referenced him in my other videos, and I've spoke about him before, but Bill Donohue, Hidden Meanings is his website, and he has YouTube videos as well, is a tremendous wealth of knowledge on esoterics. And he covers predominantly Christian esoterics, which is what I find most useful to me because I'm brought up Christian. But he also covers others, which, for instance, the Bhagavad Gita, which is how my journey with esoterics began. When I was fasting, as I say, the universe created a situation where I would be handed a Bhagavad Gita. Now, there are other teachers, and why I'm reluctant to recommend teachers is there are other persons who I agree with 30% of what they're saying, but the rest of it's nonsense. But Bill, there's a high percentage that I agree with. So for now, that's who I'd say as a teacher. If you're looking online for a teacher, then I'd say go to Bill, because Bill is a good source. And I don't agree with all of it at all, but I do agree with a lot of it, as I say. Now, some of the other teachers, I feel, are teaching stuff in line with getting YouTube clicks, which is not what I think is required. They teach a lot of truth, but then they start saying stuff which is in line with the trends on YouTube. So I don't trust those persons to teach, shall we say, because I think they are somewhere between delivering the message and somewhere between making a living from YouTube clicks. Now, I don't agree with that side of things, because I think if you have a message, put your message out. And if someone is making a living from YouTube, then I think you get an idea that, of course, they're going to say what they need to say to get views. And for me, myself, I couldn't care if I get 500 views, 5,000 views, or 5 views, so long as the people who view it take something from the message, and those who watch the videos about the children, perhaps within among them someone can help one of the children. If I get a video with 5 views and one person helps a child, that's better than me getting a video with 5,000 views and nobody helping anybody. So it's about the quality of the message getting through for me. And the thing is, with my life, what I want you could take from me, as I say, I will still teach what I believe to be the true doctrine of Christ and the true doctrine of the Buddha and stuff of this nature, the true doctrine of the Gita. I will still teach those things, but I can't do it as often as I would like. But in watching me and what I do here, and remembering that I was just a normal man, and whilst I was living in the West, I suffered from depression. I suffered from all the issues that persons deal with in the West. I suffered from all of the constant normal wars that we have there. But depression and use of substances was one of the main problems that I came up against in my life. And it was in finding esoterics, and it was in listening to the teachings of esoterics that I went within myself, and I embraced that part of my consciousness that we call the Christ within. And if you watch a teacher, someone like Bill Donohue, or if you read books like the one I've got here by Mr. Riley, then you can unlock the keys inside yourself to do it yourself. And if you're ever curious, do esoterics work, or is esoterics bad, then watch the work I do with the children and use that as your guarantee for what esoterics can do for a person and for the world when not feared and when done correctly. Because I do follow it and I do adhere to the teachings. And my life and what I do here is what is made possible when you embrace the Christ within, when you go within and you seek the kingdom within you. This is what happens. The universe, or God, or however you want to call it, Christ, Yeshua, the Buddha, wherever you're from, however you call it, Allah, will take you and will lift you up and will take you to parts of the world that you can't even believe you would have gone to. And you will see amazing miracles and magic happening around you that you can't believe is possible. And you will see healing and love that you didn't even know existed all around you. And in my instance, in finding the Christ within by following esoterics and listening to that voice and altering my spiritual antenna, altering my prayer antenna so I could hear the guidance required, so I knew which direction God wanted me to go in on which given day. So I could hear the assistance of his angels and of the Lord himself. Then we now have 507 children that we support in this area with food, anything from, well, all with food, shelter, education, medical costs. Not all with shelter, some with shelter who require it. I have the home here, Featherstail Children's Village. This was started from nothing. I came here with nothing. We now have a village which supports special needs children. It provides protection from domestic violence victims, and it provides palliative care for persons suffering with HIV/AIDS. I'm this week going to use what resources I can get together to open a centre for street children to deal with these boys who are abused in ways that can only be deemed as the word satanic, I guess. All of this happened. Oh, and let's not forget the animal rescue that has more than 30 dogs, and I've lost count how many we've rehomed with loving families and expatriates here. This was all made possible from nowhere because I went inside and I found a way for me to be able to speak and commune with God. And I did that by following the teachings of esoterics. So if you want to understand esoterics, you can watch my musings and you can understand what I've got to teach. If you need constant teachings, look around for books, look around for works that are from people whose mission is to teach full-time. I one day, perhaps when I'm old and grey, will be a full-time teacher, but whilst I'm young, my job in relation to the Father, and in relation to God, in relation to the teachings of esoterics, and in relation to the love that Christ spoke of, is to show the world what happens when you embrace it. And that's what I'm hoping my life can do for the world, and that's what I hope it is doing. According to the words of many of you, then it is doing that. It does do that. But what I want to make clear is that I, John, couldn't do this. I was just a normal guy, and it was only by going within and activating the pineal and in thus communing with Spirit clearly, with Christ, with God, that I found the strength and the knowledge and the ability to be guided to do what I do here. And this is why esoterics and the understanding of these texts is so important to me, because this is what can change the planet. If it changed me from being a depressant who would take drugs and just not give two hoots about much other than money and self-service, to despise those things and to take no greater pleasure than caring for 10 special needs children and 4 or 5, I forget how many, very troubled young men who have come from the streets, then I believe it can change the heart of anybody. So, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say for now. Better get off. I've got work to do. Much love, guys.